Welcome to Biff's Mystery Theater. I have many tales to tell you. Ghost stories, murder stories, and tales that will make your bones chill. Join me, won't you? For Theater of the Mind, where you always have the best seat in the house. Now close your eyes and turn off the lights.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. How great is our capacity for belief? Most people would probably claim they'll believe anything they can see, feel, taste, touch, or hear. In short, anything they could experience with their senses. But I will venture to say there are things in this world so fantastic, so incredible, that you or I could stare at them with our own two eyes and swear under oath that we were not seeing what was there.
Sharky, you have got to support me on this.
I can't.
You've got to. They'll never take my word alone. I sound like a raving lunatic.
I'm sorry, Mr. Perk, but I can't do it.
You were down there with me. You saw it just like I did.
No, I didn't.
What?
I didn't see it. Neither did you. We didn't see a thing. There's nothing down there.
Our mystery drama, the 9th volume, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Percy Granger and stars Michael Wager. It is sponsored in part by Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule, and True Value hardware stores. I'll be back shortly with Act 1. Energy is something we hear a great deal about these days. The kind of energy provided by oil and coal, that is. We hear debates as to how much of these precious substances are left. Some say supplies are virtually unlimited. Others say we'll run out in 200 to 300 years. And the more dire prophets claim a mere 25 years. Whatever the figures, one thing is certain. As the situation becomes more urgent, some of those looking for new reserves are not going to let anything stand in their way. The year is 1998. We're at a drilling site on the western slopes of the Rocky Mountains.
Okay, start her up. Start her up! Sharky?
Yes, sir?
What are the chances of that well getting down another 50 feet by noon?
I don't know, boss. That's pretty solid stuff we're drilling through now.
I don't understand this. Not in all my 42 years in this business as a company geologist told me to drill halfway up a mountain instead of on the low ground.
He seems pretty confident.
He's a young smart aleck, if you ask me. He isn't quite right.
You mean in the head?
Yeah. But he went to college. All right, get on the back of that rig, Sharky, and take it as fast as you can. But remember, under no circumstances do I want any more delays.
Morning, Milo.
Morning, John.
Coffee's on.
Uh-huh.
Everything underway okay today?
How can you be so cheerful when we've only got less than a week left and no sign of oil?
Less than a week.
5 days, to be exact. I got a call from headquarters last night. They've decided against renewing the lease on this land.
Oh, they're crazy. Do they know how much oil there is under that mountain?
Well, John, forgive me, but you seem to be the only one still under the illusion that there's anything at all down there. We've drilled 10 dry holes over the past 2 years, 10 dusters. And all of them have been based on your so-called calculations.
That's right, because headquarters always pulled the pipe before we got down far enough.
Do you have any idea how much drilling costs go up when you get down past the second mile?
Milo, I'm going to make you a little wager. How many feet do you think the boys can take it down today?
I asked Sharky for 50 by noon.
Then I will bet you $100 that by noon, we've struck oil.
$100.
How far down are we now?
As of last night at quitting time, it was 19,967 feet.
Okay. I'll make that bet even more specific. I say that by the time we reach 19,980 feet, we'll be into the biggest pool of oil you ever saw.
Well, it's only 13 more feet.
That's right. Is it a bet, Milo?
Well,
Mr. Hawkins.
Yeah?
Mr. Perk, I think we've hit something.
What?
We've hit an air pocket.
Are you sure?
I think that's what it is. The rock bit's not meeting any resistance.
None at all?
No, sir.
Are you holding in position?
Yes, sir.
Good. Get ready to cap. Keep the rig going, but wait till I give you a signal. I want to get company headquarters on the phone.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Milo, I think you just saved yourself $100.
I want headquarters to put this over the intercom. When this geyser goes, everybody in that whole building is going to hear it. What? What was that?
Sounded like the rig. The rig! It stopped!
What's the matter? What's happened?
Sharky, what's gone wrong?
I don't know.
Well, why did you stop the rig?
Something weird is happening, boss.
What? What are you talking about?
Well, there was this, I mean, I don't know how to describe it. The rotor was kicking up rock dust. You know, that yellowish granite we've been drilling through, and then all of a sudden, well, it changed color.
Changed color?
Yeah.
And for that, you stopped the rig?
Well...
Oh, now, wait a minute, Milo. Sharky, you said the dust changed color to what?
Well, I think it was kind of reddish.
Ah, well, it sounds like we may have hit a stratum of clay.
So where is this red dust? Let me see it.
Well, now that's what I'm trying to tell you. It isn't here anymore. It was in my hands. I was holding it in my hands, looking at it, and it just disappeared.
You mean the wind blew it away?
No. My hands were cupped. There wasn't any wind. It just evaporated.
It just evaporated. Disappeared.
Yes, sir.
Now I've got two nuts to deal with.
As a scientist, I'd be rather curious to have a look at some of this dust. There ought to be still some of this stuff in the hole here if I can just turn the pipe. Ah! Here we are.
No, I don't know if I'd touch it, Mr. Perk. What if it's not safe?
That looks harmless enough to me.
Yeah, but you don't know. That's from nearly 4 miles down in the earth. It could be almost anything. That's why I had them stop the rig.
I think my first guess was right. It seems to be clay of some sort. It's very odd, though.
What it?
There had to be a seam of clay that deep in the earth. And the kind of rock formation we've been cutting through.
Look there. See what I mean?
Hey, what happened to it?
It just vanishes. That's what I was telling you.
Sharky, bring me some kind of small container, will you? A plastic bag, anything, so long as it's airtight.
Okay.
Why airtight?
I think it must be the fresh air that's causing this stuff, whatever it is, to disintegrate. I want to get a sample of it down to Boulder, to the university there, and have it analyzed.
This is the only airtight bag I could find, Mr. Perk.
What is it?
Well, it's from my lunch pail. Wife put my sandwich in it this morning.
Well, I guess it'll have to do. Milo, will you give me a ride?
Well, what about the well?
I think we'd better leave the rig off until we find out what this stuff is.
It's past 1 o'clock. We've lost the whole morning. How much longer is this friend of yours going to take?
Milo, Professor Anderson is a very thorough person. He'll be finished when he's finished.
This is ridiculous.
You saw that dust disintegrate with your own eyes.
So, stuff comes up from the center of the earth and acts weird. Why not? If I was down there, I'd act weird.
It doesn't raise your curiosity at all. Ah, Professor Anderson.
Gentlemen,
What did you find out? Were you able to analyze the powder?
Mr. Hawkins, is that right?
Yes, sir. You can call me Milo.
Milo, how do you enjoy working with this practical joker here?
Professor, what?
You see, Mr. Hawkins, Mr. Perk here was one of my more intelligent students, so I assume he must be attempting humor when he comes around bothering a busy old man with a handful of powdered tile.
Tile?
That's right, John. What you asked me to drop everything for and analyze is nothing but common tile, such as one might use to roof a house. What's so special about it?
What's so special about it, Professor, is that it comes from the bottom of a well shaft nearly 4 miles down inside a mountain.
Oh, I see. So you weren't pulling my leg. Why did you ask me to keep the sample in an airtight container? It made my examination much more difficult.
Because when that dust is exposed to fresh air, it disintegrates.
Disintegrates? John, if that's true, do you realize how old this material could be? Your find must be investigated at once.
Well, there's just one problem, Professor. How would you get down there?
I don't know. I only know the site must be excavated. This powder could well be far older than all our previous estimates. It could be all that remains of a civilization we never even knew existed. Which reminds me, John, I must keep this sample and run dating tests on it.
Of course.
Now, look, our company has a deadline. If we don't find oil, we've got to be off that land by the end of the week.
Oh, but you can't continue to drill for oil, son. Don't you realize that by continuing to drill, you might destroy an invaluable clue to our past?
I don't care about the past, Professor. I care about the future. And I don't see that the excavation of one more prehistoric Indian dwelling or whatever is going to make any difference. But getting to that oil, if it's there, will.
The problem still is how to reach the site.
Just a minute. You're drilling up near Pine Creek, aren't you?
Yeah, 3 miles up the mountain from there.
Well, then I think there might be a way. There used to be a big silver mine at Pine Creek, remember?
Ah, that's right. It was abandoned at the turn of the century, 95 years ago.
Yeah, but the last shaft the miners dug struck a cave system.
Of course. You took us there on a field trip.
Now, let me see. I should have some maps around here someplace. Yes. Here we are. This is the one I'm looking for. A cutaway view of the mountain. Now, you can see here how extensive the cave system is. Now, where exactly is the location of your drilling site?
Right here.
There, you see. Trace lines straight down 20,000 feet. That's your depth.
Uh-huh.
And it would place you here, the very deepest bowels of the mountain. But here you see the cave starting at the base of the mine shaft, which is already at the base of the mountain, and you give yourself a head start of nearly 15,000 feet.
And look, here's a branch of the cave which comes practically to the point our drill has reached. Why, we could crawl there in a matter of hours.
Now, just a minute, John. Seem to be forgetting who pays your salary.
Milo, look, it's now 1 o'clock. Give me until starting time tomorrow, 9 o'clock. What do we lose? A half a day.
I think perhaps you better allow Mr. Perk to attempt the descent. My analysis showed traces of a rather strange substance. An adhesive, I believe.
Oh, why was it strange?
Because it was entirely synthetic. And no primitives we're familiar with could possibly have known about it.
I'm reminded of an old story about a cabin boy on a clipper ship. It seems he was always losing things. One day, the captain asked him to clean his favorite clock. But when he asked to have it back, the boy couldn't produce it. The captain flew into a rage. "I suppose it's lost," he said. "Oh, no, sir," replied the cabin boy. "I know exactly where it is. It fell out of my hands as I was cleaning it, and it's at the bottom of the ocean. The characters in our story know where something is, too. And like the captain's clock, the only problem is how to get to it. We shall dig deeper into all of this when I return with Act 2. There are many things which distinguish man from the so-called lower orders of the animal kingdom. And geologist John Perch is giving us a good demonstration of one of them right now. For man is the only animal who will deliberately set off to confront the unknown. John Perch has bought a few precious hours from a grudging Milo Hawkins, and with Sharky as his assistant, is descending into the mountain.
Sharky, careful, this ledge isn't too wide.
Is there room for both of us?
Just barely. What time is it, Sharky?
Almost midnight.
Sharky.
Huh?
There it is. The end of the tunnel. Hand me the bag with the drill and the explosives.
Here we go.
While I'm drilling a hole for the dynamite, you get out the oxygen packs. That inflate one of those balloons to seal off the tunnel behind us. We don't want any fresh air getting into whatever is behind that rock.
The tunnel's all sealed off, Mr. Perk.
Good. Charge is ready. Now let's just back up around this corner here.
Yeah.
Okay. It'll just take a second to hook up the wires.
Mr. Perk.
Yeah?
Are we sure we want to do this? I mean, are we sure we want to know what's back there?
I'm a scientist, Sharky.
Yes, sir.
It's all wide. Push the plunger.
Okay. Can you see anything?
Not with this flashlight. No. Wait. Through the dust, it looks like there's a chamber of some sort. Come on. Let's get back in there and set up the light. Here. Give me the light. You crank up the generator.
Okay. Okay, turn her on.
Good Lord.
I don't get it, Mr. Perk. We must have taken the wrong turn. This isn't a prehistoric dwelling. It's somebody's house.
We didn't take any wrong turns, Sharky. Well, look. See in the ceiling there? It's the nose of our rock pit from the drilling rig.
Yeah, but look at this. A stove, a sink, even a dishwasher.
And look in here. A dining room, rugs, a table, chairs. They look like they came right out of a department store.
I don't like this. I wish we'd brought guns or something. What if this is some kind of criminal hideout?
4 miles underground.
Well, we don't know. Maybe it's a secret government project, a bomb shelter or something.
But how was it built?
I don't know. But there's got to be a reason why it's here.
Let's have a look around. Maybe there's another way in which the survey charts don't show.
Did you find anything, Mr. Perk?
Nothing. How about you?
Well, nothing.
Fantastic. This entire house is encased in solid bedrock.
But I saw bedrooms, a bathroom, even a TV set. Everything just like people lived here.
Except that there are no signs of life anywhere.
Hey, look at this. Glass in the windows, not even cracked. And curtains.
I wonder if the plumbing works.
Well, it's one way to find out, isn't there? It's the stuff that came out of the tap. It's black.
Black?
What is it?
Let me taste that.
No, Mr. Perk, don't.
What I thought. There's nothing wrong with this, Sharky. It is perfectly good crude oil.
Oil?
Yep.
I don't believe what I'm seeing. A ranch house in the middle of the earth with oil coming out of the faucets. It's like magic.
I think there may be a more rational explanation, at least for the oil. Did you see any stairs leading to the basement?
Hey, I saw some stairs down the hallway.
Come on, then. Let's follow these pipes. Pipes should be over on that far wall.
What's that?
I don't know. I stepped in something. The whole basement floor seems to be covered with it. Shine your lights out.
Hey, look. It's oil. Whole floor is 3 inches deep in oil.
You see, I was right all along. There is oil in this mountain. We were right on target.
The only thing that stands between us and a gold mine is this house.
This solves everything. At last, we have proof that the oil exists. The company can go ahead and take a new lease on the land, and we'll have the time to try to find an answer to the mystery of this house. We can leave the generator here. We've got to get back and stop Milo starting the rig up. What time is it?
2:57 a.m.
We should just about make it. We'll inflate another balloon to seal the passage behind us before removing the first one. Are we all set to go?
All set.
Wait a minute. What's this?
What?
This door. I didn't see it before. Did you check it out?
No, I thought you did.
Well, we better have a look.
Mr. Perk, this place gives me the creeps. I got this funny feeling. Why don't we just leave well enough alone?
Help me move the light over.
What kind of thing could survive down here without air? Mr. Perk, I'm frightened. Now, don't open this door.
Get out of the way!
What is it?
A library.
A library?
Only a library. Room filled with books. You're not afraid of them, are you? I'm going to have a look. Maybe they'll provide some kind of clue. The owner is obviously a man of refinement and culture. Look at this. Complete works of Shakespeare, Milton, Plato's dialogues, Aristotle, Dante, Plutarch. Here are the more recent authors, Faulkner, Fitzgerald, Hemingway. This isn't offering us much in the way of clues. Did you find something?
This reclining chair. My father-in-law's got one just like it in his den.
Oh.
Exactly like it. It's a different color, but it's the same model.
Now, here's something. Whoever owns these books is obviously interested in history. Here's an entire case devoted to it. Herodotus, Tacitus, Livy. Arranged in chronological order. Holinshed's Chronicles, Gibbon's French Revolution. Who's this?
Who?
Someone named D.V. Davis wrote A History of the World. I thought I never heard of him, Sharkey.
Well, don't look at me. I never heard of half those other guys you mentioned.
D.V. Davis. Strange. Every other author on the shelf is familiar but him.
Mr. Perk, you remember that feeling I had before? Well, it's coming back. I think we ought to go.
Now, wait a minute. History of the World by David Vladimir Davis. In 9 volumes. There are only 8 volumes here. Well, there's a space. The 9th volume is missing, and the 8th volume covers... Lord. Sharkey, you don't see the 9th volume of this set lying around anywhere, do you?
No, why?
Did you see it anywhere lying around the house?
I don't know. I just...
Try to remember.
Well, there were some books on a table in the living room.
I've got to find it.
Yeah, but the time, it's after 3.
Forget the time. We've got to find the 9th volume to this set.
Why?
Because I am holding the 8th volume in my hand. I can feel its weight. I know it's real. It's not an illusion. The 8th volume of a 9-volume set of books on the history of the world. Our world as we know it and have lived it. And this 8th volume goes from the year 1815, the Battle of Waterloo, to the year 2000.
But this is 1998. What is this guy, a fortune teller?
Don't you see? There's still another entire volume to the set. I think I'm beginning to understand.
Hey, wait. What's that noise? Miss Perk, the house is beginning to shake.
It's stopping.
What was it?
I'm not sure. But if we really are sitting on top of an oil field, it's a highly unstable situation. The vibrations from the dynamite must have disturbed things.
We got to get out of here.
First, we have got to find that book.
Why? Why? What's so important about some old fortune teller's book?
That's not it, Sharky. That's not it at all. Don't you realize what we've discovered? This is...
What's that smell?
What?
That smell. Hey, it's gas. There's gas escaping from somewhere. That explosion must have opened a leak in a gas pocket. Quick.
Put this book in our bag. We'll have to come back later with masks to search for the 9th volume.
Hi, Mr. Perk. There's daylight.
At last.
There's someone there at the mine entrance.
Huh? Oh, God, it looks like Professor Anderson.
John, is that you?
Yeah. We're coming, Professor. But, what are you doing here?
I must know what you found down there. I've been up the entire night running dating tests on that tile sample. At first, I couldn't believe it. But now I know there can be no doubt. That powder you brought me is over 12 billion years old.
But we know the world's only 4.5 billion years old. Well, I mean, that's what I heard Mr. Hawkins say once.
Yes, that's what we've always thought, Mr. Sharkey, but evidently we've been wrong. Now tell me what you found.
At the bottom of our well hole is a house. Even more perfectly preserved than the ruins of Pompeii. It has every modern appliance we're familiar with, from electric can openers to reclining chairs.
It's just like the houses in the suburb where I live.
The only difference is it is from a civilization so far in the past that until now not even a trace of it's been known.
But what about all those books, Mr. Perk? The Shakespeare and all. How'd they get there?
Shakespeare?
That's the most incredible thing of all, Professor. That 12 billion year old civilization was ours. Same names, same events, same people fighting the same wars, making the same inventions, creating the same masterpieces.
Probably making the same mistakes.
Oh, so that's why you wanted the 9th volume of that history.
That's right, Sharky, because whatever fatal mistake they made, whatever happened to cause their extinction, is going to happen to us, unless we can discover what it was and avoid it.
The 9th volume?
There isn't time to explain now, Professor. We've got to get back to camp and stop Milo before he turns on that rig.
In our beginning is our end, said T.S. Eliot. All living things duplicate themselves in reproduction with a phenomenal precision. So is it not at least possible, then, that nature repeats itself on a larger scale, too? In fact, on the largest scale of all. I shall return shortly with our final act. We catch but glimpses of our past. The legend of Atlantis lives on. The mysteries of Stonehenge and the giant statues of Easter Island continue to baffle us. The most advanced and sophisticated civilizations are represented by mere shards of pottery, stumbled on by accident. For all our research, there is still behind us a vast unknown. But now, a discovery, fantastic, terrifying evidence of a former civilization identical to our own. A civilization whose end was so cataclysmic, no trace had ever been discovered until now.
Milo, thank goodness we got here before you started that rig.
John, I've got a bone to pick with
There's
you.
no time for that.
Sharky,
Yes, sir.
get out there and get the rig started.
No, wait, you've got to listen to us.
I've got a better idea, John. Why don't you listen to me for a change? I got a little phone call last night from headquarters. You remember them, don't you? They wanted to know how things were going. Understandably, they're getting a little anxious, considering the fact that we've got only 4 days before our lease here is up. And you can imagine my chagrin when I had to tell them the rig wasn't even running. That my geologist, who's supposed to be telling me where to drill, had told me to stop so he could go down and nose around some prehistoric Indian hut.
That's not what's down there.
I don't care what's down there. My job is to drill for oil. You know who's arriving today? Sid Dobbs.
Sid Dobbs?
That's right. The company executive vice president. He wants to know what the heck is going on here. He's flying up personally to take over the operation.
Well, if you would let me get a word in edgewise, I can tell you what's going on.
All I want to know is why we haven't struck oil.
Well, that's one thing you don't have to worry about. There is oil down there. We saw it.
You saw it?
I stuck my finger in it. I tasted it. It's there, right where I said it would be. The drill is no more than 20 feet above the strike at this very moment.
Well, then, let's get it going and have that oil coming up for Mr. Dobbs, so he won't have our heads in a sling. Sharky?
Yes, sir.
No, wait a minute. You can't start the rig, not until we've had a chance to go back down there.
Go back down? What for?
Milo, what we've discovered, it wasn't what we expected. There's a house down there, all right, but it's modern. I mean, well, not modern exactly. It's 12 billion years old, but...
Sharky, what's he talking about?
I know, it sounds incredible, but Professor Anderson ran dating tests on that powder we took him, and it is 12 billion years old.
Ah, so you found a modern 12 billion year old house.
But the important thing is the book. That's why we've got to go back down.
Oh, I see. What?
The 9th volume. It's a history of the world from the year 2000 on.
John, I'm doing my best to stay with you, but you aren't making it easy for me.
Milo, now listen. There is a house down there from a civilization that existed 12 billion years ago that was ours. It was us. Don't you see what that means? We're being given the chance to look into the future.
I see. Sharky?
Yes, sir.
You've been awful quiet.
Yeah, I guess so.
You were down there with Mr. Perk, weren't you?
Yes.
You went all the way with him? You saw everything he saw?
Yes.
And you saw this house he's talking about?
No, I didn't.
What? Sharky, you didn't see a 12 billion year old house that looks just like ours, that has a set of books? It's going to tell us what's going to happen?
No, sir, I didn't. I didn't see any of that.
That's what I thought.
No! Sharky, what are you saying? Milo, look in this bag. We brought up the 8th volume of that set. See, look, it goes from 1815 to the year 2000. Now, will you believe me?
There's nothing in here but a pile of dots.
What? Oh, good grief, we're in such a hurry I must not have sealed the container properly. Look, Milo, you've got to believe me. 12 more hours is all I need. But we've got to go back down there.
Hello, Hawkins here. Yes? Okay, I'll be right over. The company plane has just landed with Mr. Dobbs. I'm going to meet him, and I want that rig in full operation by the time we return.
Milo, listen to me. Remember when we were at Anderson's lab? He said his analysis of the powder showed traces of a substance that primitive man couldn't have known about.
Oh, yes. Yes, I meant to tell you. Professor Anderson called yesterday, right after you and Sharky had gone down into the mine. He'd run another test and discovered what it was.
But doesn't that convince you I'm telling the truth?
It was mayonnaise, John.
Mayonnaise?
That's right. Remember? We used a sandwich bag from Sharky's lunch pail. Mayonnaise.
Sharky.
Mr. Perk, please, let me get by.
Why did you lie?
I gotta get the rig started.
Are you crazy? Do you realize what we'll be destroying?
Mr. Perk, I don't want to talk about it.
What are you afraid of? Going back down there, we'll run hoses down to pump out the gas. Anyway, you don't have to go if you don't want to. I can find somebody else. I know it's risky, but it's too important not to take the chance.
Mr. Perk, please let me go.
Not until you tell me why you lied to Milo. Don't you see what this discovery could mean? The chance to look into the future, the chance to avoid making the same mistake twice.
How?
What?
How are we going to avoid it?
Don't you want to know your own fate?
No. I don't want to know.
An entire civilization may perish because of your cowardice. Why won't you support me?
Didn't you see that house?
Of course I saw it.
Did you take a good look at it?
What are you getting at, Sharky? What's the matter?
It's a modern house.
So?
It's not ultra-modern. It's not some weird, futuristic contraption filled with gadgets we've never seen. It's modern. It's contemporary. Don't you see what that means? This is as far as we're coming. This is the end of the line. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen soon. And it's probably too late to stop it.
But we can try if we know what it is.
I don't want to know what it is. I don't want to know.
So you won't support me. When Sid Dobbs arrives, you won't back me up.
Sorry, Mr. Burke.
You'll think I'm a raving lunatic.
Sharky, why isn't that rig going yet?
Oh, man. Hello, John.
Hello, Sid.
Mr. Dobbs, I'm sorry. I gave orders for the rig to be running it.
That's all right, Milo. Forget it. The rig isn't going on.
It isn't?
No. We've decided to suspend operations altogether.
Suspend operations?
Our lease is up in 4 days. It'll take us that long to pack up and be out of here. And as far as I'm concerned, the sooner we never see this place again, the better.
Sid, when you say suspend operations, you mean you intend to pull a pipe?
We sure can't afford to leave it behind.
You can't do that.
What? Why not?
Removing the pipe would expose the hole to the fresh air and... Well, there's something down there that would be destroyed.
By fresh air?
Sid, we struck some old clay rock yesterday. That's why the rig isn't going. John insisted on exploring in a nearby cave.
Sid, you have to listen to me. Sharky's right. There is oil down there. We're within 20 feet of it.
Are you asking me to start the rig going again?
No. I'm asking you to take a new lease on the land and hold off making the strike until I've completed my explorations.
John, I remind you that we've been listening to you for 2 years. There's no more time. It's all run out.
You are also sitting on top of something infinitely more important than oil. And it's going to be destroyed.
John, I think you need some sleep. That's your problem.
Now, wait a minute. Just a minute, Marlowe. I'm curious about these continued illusions, John. I might give you one more chance. I will accept your considered judgment as a rational scientist that the oil is there and hold off drilling. If you'll tell me what's down there that's so important.
My judgment as a rational scientist. Oh, never mind, Sid, never mind. Go ahead and pull the pipe.
Okay. Marlowe, have the men pack up. We'll pull the pipe and dismantle the rig in the morning.
John, why didn't you just tell Mr. Dobbs what it was you'd seen?
He wouldn't have believed me, Professor Anderson, not without Sharky's corroboration.
So? You're going to start pulling the pipe in the morning and a golden opportunity and we'll be lost forever.
No, not exactly.
Oh? What chance remains? Surely you don't intend to stop them at gunpoint?
No. I'm going to try going down again.
You said there was gas leaking, that the ground was beginning to shift.
We can wear masks against the gas, and as for the shifting, well, we'll just have to take that risk.
You said we.
That's why I came to you, Professor. I need someone to go with me. It's a two-man job. I don't know who else to turn to. I know you're... I mean...
Oh,
I know what you're trying to say. But on a mission of such importance, I wouldn't hesitate. Not for 1 minute.
Then you'll come with me.
Yes, of course I will.
Good. We've got to start at once. There's barely enough time as it is.
Sharky, I can't say I'll be sorry to see the last of this place. Something about it always did give me the willies. That you better lock the gate for the last time.
Oh, okay, Mr. Hawkins.
Hey, wait a minute. What's that?
What?
The stuff on your boots, the black stuff.
Why, that's the oil.
Oil? Where'd it come from?
Well, that's what I was trying to tell you all along. The oil that's down there. Mr. Perk and I saw it, and we waded through it.
Sharky, get Mr. Dobbs from the office.
Why?
We've got to start up that rig. There is oil, Sharky. Oil. You know what that means? Ha! Our future's golden.
Here it is, Professor.
This is amazing. A house in every detail, exactly like our own. From a duplicate civilization that inhabited the earth 12 billion years ago. Oh, how much it could teach us.
Wait a minute. Sharky said he thought he'd seen some books in the living room. This way.
Look, over there on that table.
Yeah, this is it. The History of the World by D.V. Davis.
Volume 9.
Do you realize what this will mean, Professor, when we open this book?
Yes. I wonder what it is, John, that we're to learn about ourselves from ourselves.
What's that? Professor, they started the drill. The whole house! It's collapsing into dust!
There is a legend in classical mythology about the Sibyl, a prophetess who lived appropriately enough to our story in a cave. She offered to sell 9 prophetic books to Tarquin the Proud, the last of Rome's legendary kings. He refused, for he felt her price was too high. So she burned 3 of the books and offered him the remaining 6 for the same price. Again Tarquin refused, and again Sibyl burned 3 of the precious volumes. Finally, he bought the last 3 for the price of the original 9. But because of his stingy short-sightedness, mankind lost forever his chance to know what the future holds. I shall return shortly. Really want to know what fate has in store for us? That would probably depend on whether or not we had the ability to act on that knowledge and to alter the impending course of events. But would it be a simple matter of avoiding a single fatal mistake? Or would we discover a future as complex as human nature itself and as unchangeable? Our cast included Michael Wager, Court Benson, and Robert Dryden. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. We hear about the changing times. Is it the times that change, or the people within those times? We talk about a need for change, and then don't recognize the change when it comes along. Around 500 B.C., a Greek philosopher declared that all is flux, nothing stays still, nothing endures but change. Yet, an old French proverb tells us, the more things change, the more they remain the same. Confusing, isn't it? At least we know that time never stands still. But does it?
Jack! my God.
Honey, you're shivering.
I just had the most ghastly dream.
I had a strange one, too.
Mine was so frightening, so real.
So was mine.
A voice told me to go to the old graveyard.
And to take 6 paces behind the stone in the northwest corner.
How did you know?
Because I had exactly the same dream.
Mystery drama, Too Early, Too Late, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Elizabeth Pennell and stars Russell Horton and Marion Seldes. I'll be back shortly with Act 1. Jack and Ruth Peterson felt themselves lucky to inherit a ramshackle old house in Connecticut where his grandparents had once lived. The place was closed for a long time until last summer when the couple began fixing it up. They recalled past holidays there and decided it would be a great place to spend New Year's Eve. They have invited a friend from childhood to join them.
Good dinner, Ruth.
Sorry Dave didn't get here in time to eat with us.
You should have been here by now.
I just didn't realize how late it is. I hope nothing's happened to him.
That's the nuisance of not having a phone. First thing next spring, we are going
I'm beginning to think we shouldn't have come here in the wintertime.
Oh, nonsense. I'd rather be here than anywhere else in the world.
Hey, anybody home?
It's Dave. I'll get the door. Dave, come in. We were worried.
Welcome, old buddy. Where have you been?
I've been lost.
You're kidding. You know this area better than we do.
Well, it's wilder than it used to be and so dark. You know, I'm accustomed to city lights. And now the road's slippery. I couldn't make it up your driveway.
Have you had anything to eat?
Not a thing. I'm starved.
Oh, I hope there's a spark left in that wretched stove.
And while Ruth stirs up the coals, I'm going to get you a drink.
I feel better now. Back on those icy roads, your reunion in the woods sounded like a crazy idea.
I had this sudden urge to go back to the old days.
You remember, Dave, when we were kids, the 3 of us swore we'd be friends forever.
Yeah, I remember how the 3 of us used to leave the other kids there and go off to the old graveyard.
And just sit there quietly.
I never did let on how scared I was.
Of ghosts.
I felt that all those dead eyes were looking at me. The old folks disapprovingly and the children begging me to help them.
Honey, I thought you liked the old graveyard.
Oh, I did, in a creepy sort of way, but those ancestors of ours seemed almost too real.
Hey, do you suppose the inscriptions on those stones are still readable today?
Of course, we checked up this past summer.
Oh, I don't know. That place is terribly overgrown now. The bushes are just tangled everywhere.
I'd like to go back to that old graveyard and take a look. Hey, how about tomorrow?
Sheer ice underfoot.
Honey, let's try. It might not be so bad.
You two, just count me up.
Uh-oh, the storm is back. I should have fixed that broken shutter.
This house is like a sieve when the wind blows. It just sends chills into every corner.
Is it okay if I throw another log on the fire? Nothing like a roaring fire in the country. I remember these sudden windstorms.
I love them. Maybe that's why I went into the business.
Say, that's right. You still working on those wind machines?
You bet. We're making real progress.
I can tell you right now, you're on the wrong track.
What do you mean?
I mean, that old-fashioned stuff is out, completely out. Our ancestors tried it.
You know something better?
Yeah, darn right I do. Don't you realize we're in a nuclear age?
Yes, and it's much too dangerous.
No, not the way I'm working at it. We're almost ready to conquer nature.
Who needs your nuclear power? That's what the wind can
Jack,
do.
close the door. Oh, Lord, the lights have gone out.
That does it. I've got to put a new lock on this door.
I knew we shouldn't have come up here in the wintertime.
Don't you have kerosene lamps?
Yeah, there are plenty of lamps in the house, but Jack couldn't find any kerosene.
Everyone's bought it up for those fancy new stoves.
Is this ever a backward country? Now, just you wait.
No, wait, don't panic. We've got plenty of candles.
And we don't need a refrigerator. I chipped some ice off the rain spout, and the champagne's been chilling for hours. It's nearly midnight. Time to welcome the new year. Here's to us, and to a wind that blows everyone good.
Well, let's conquer that wind. Here's to nuclear energy.
Oh, wait a minute, you guys. While we're drinking champagne, millions of people are starving. I drink to a better chance for survival. For everyone.
Yeah, that's what we all want. A happier new year.
Jack, wake up.
Oh, do I have to?
Yes. Hold me tight. I want to be sure I'm alive.
Oh, honey, you sure?
I just had the most ghastly dream.
I had a strange one, too.
Oh, but mine was so frightening, so real.
So was mine.
Listen, there was this terrible man. Oh, I guess he was terrible. I couldn't exactly see him. But he kept telling me over and over that I had to obey his orders.
Oh, that's extraordinary. Well, what did he tell you to do?
He told me I must go to the graveyard.
When?
At noon, today.
I don't believe it.
You don't have to believe in dreams, do you? Now listen, there's more.
The voice told you to go exactly 6 paces behind the furthest gravestone in the northwest corner.
How did you know?
Because I had exactly the same dream.
But that's impossible.
Is it? What was the next step?
To dig a hole?
To the depth of 2 feet?
Yes, that's what he said, and then we
uncover something that might change the whole course of the next decade. It's weird. You and I agree on a lot of things, but we were never any good at ESP. Wait till Dave hears about this.
Breakfast will be ready in a minute, I hope.
Oh. Stove sure feels good.
Hope you weren't cold during the night.
No, there were plenty of blankets. I don't know. I'm chilled to the bone.
Oh, sorry about that. Here, here's a cup of coffee.
Oh, thanks. You know, I had the most extraordinary dream last night.
You too?
Yeah. Now, wait till I tell you. There was this disembodied voice.
A man.
Yeah, but, I had no idea what sort of person he was. He sounded as though he knew me, and he wanted me to do something.
Oh, no.
What did he want you to do?
He ordered me to go to the old graveyard.
When?
Today, at noon.
And to take 6 paces straight back from the last gravestone in the northwest corner.
How did you know that?
Because I had the same dream.
And so did I.
It's incredible. Let me tell you the rest.
We know.
You're supposed to dig a hole.
That's it.
2 feet down, and you'll find...
Well, the voice didn't say exactly what we'd find.
Oh, not what, but he indicated it was something important.
Hey, now just come on a minute. We're acting as though there really is something buried there.
I don't know what to think.
I know, I'm scared. How could 3 people have the same dream if there wasn't something to it?
It's simple. Last night we all had the old graveyard on our minds.
But we were talking about a time years ago when we were just kids.
Those were vivid memories. And wait a minute. I did say I'd like to see the graveyard today.
But I said I wouldn't go.
Only I knew you'd come along.
Well, I have a theory about dreams.
What is it?
I believe that dreams take up where an interrupted thought left off.
I don't follow you.
Last evening, we were all thinking about going to the graveyard, right? And then the storm blew up and the lights went out.
Yes, that's right.
We each concentrated on the same thing. And then, boom. Don't you see how logical it is?
That's an analysis even Freud might approve of.
Elementary. So, we just go ahead with our original plans.
But I think since we're going to the graveyard, we might as well take along a couple of shovels. Just in case.
Are you 2 really going to the graveyard?
We're all going, Ruth, and just for kicks, we're going right at noon. How beautiful it is.
We've never been here in the wintertime. It looks like an ice palace.
Hey, this one's my great-great-great-grandfather. He lived to a ripe old age.
Why did they carve such an awful skull thing with wings?
Oh, that's the traditional angel of death.
The person who lies under here was drowned in Lake Ontario.
How'd you know that?
It says so.
Hey, listen. A church bell.
There hasn't been a church around here in 100 years.
Yes, there's a church over the hill.
It's 2 miles away.
Oh, it's a clear day. The atmosphere and wind are just right for sound to carry.
And the dream said noontime, so if it's striking...
Do you suppose...
I'm getting out of here.
No, just a minute, Ruth. I'll tell you one thing. We couldn't possibly dig a hole in the ground.
Why not?
Because the ground is frozen absolutely solid. Look, I'll show you.
Well,
I'll try over here.
Yeah, you see, Ruth? Look, it's hard as marble.
Well, I'm glad of that. Because anyway, we could get arrested for digging up a grave.
Only we're supposed to dig beyond the last tombstone. That's out of the cemetery.
Ground will be just as hard over there.
At least we can see if there's some sort of marker.
Yeah, why not?
Here's the last stone.
Okay, let's measure off 6 paces. How long is a pace?
That's a big step, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, I'll show you why we can't possibly dig a hole. You try over there, Jack, and don't break the shovel. Okay, here goes.
Good Lord. The ground is soft as butter.
It can't be. Just one step back and look. It's hard as a rock.
Come over here and dig.
I'm not going to watch. I don't like the sight of old bones.
2 feet down. We're almost there, Jack.
I found something. Here, scrape the dirt away.
Be careful.
Well, I'll be. Look. Ruth. Look.
What is it? Oh. Something shiny.
I've never seen anything like it.
What have they found? Something shiny, Ruth said. Can it be gold? Surely not treasure buried by Captain Kidd. Although there's at least one legend which claims that some of his loot was buried in the foothills of Connecticut. However, that's another story. Our 3 friends had made a surprising discovery, and the circumstances which surround their findings become more strange by the minute, as you'll learn presently in Act 2. What is the fabric of dreams? Are they fashioned of fragments from the past, or do they portend the future? Something remarkable has just taken place. 3 people have had the same dream. Moreover, this dream has led them to an old graveyard on the first day of a new year in the 1980s. They have just dug a hole in the ground, roughly coffin-shaped. And what they uncovered has left them stunned.
How can this be?
Jack, don't touch it. I think it's some kind of a bomb.
Can't be a bomb. It's encased in glass.
No, that's not glass. I struck it hard with a spade.
Plastic?
No, I don't think so. Plastic doesn't gleam like that. It's made of a substance I've never seen before.
But what is it?
I'd say it's a time capsule.
Oh, Lord, storm coming. One more minute we'll be drenched.
There's not a cloud in the sky.
Wind. Hang on to me, Jack. I can't stand up.
Hey, get down on the ground, everybody. No need to behave like that. Get up.
That voice. It's his.
Whose voice?
The man in our dream.
Don't let your imagination run away with you.
I knew you'd come. Greetings.
Isn't it his voice?
Where's it coming from?
Over there, by that last tombstone.
That's where one of my ancestors is buried. He died in 1790.
You're so right.
He can't be a voice from the dead.
Right again. Someone is playing tricks. They planted a tape recorder. Wrong about that. Tape recorders went out of use years ago.
But you came from there, from the grave of... You must be my great...
Nonsense. Do I look like a man from the 18th century?
No, you're dressed just like us.
Of course.
Then you must be a descendant of one of the people buried here. That would make you a distant cousin.
Sorry to disappoint you. I'm no blood relative, but I do know all these people. I know them very well. Let's stop this nonsense. You're a joker. You were crouching behind that stone. And it's time to tell us what this charade is all about. I don't play charades. This has to be some sort of game. Surely you haven't forgotten your dream.
Who are you?
That, dear lady, is of little importance. What does matter is who you are and what you're going to do about it.
Would you stop talking in riddles and tell us what you're driving at?
In due course. Right now, we must all get down to business. So far, you have obeyed instructions and uncovered what we sent you to find.
Tell us what that thing in the ground is.
You were right in calling it a time capsule. I suppose, in a way, that's what it is.
No ancestor of mine ever buried an object that looks like that.
I don't think anyone's thought about time capsules back in the 1780s.
Exactly. So, if it's just been buried, who wants to open it? We know everything that's going on today. Who said anything about today? This capsule contains the future. Oh, then I'm going to break into it. Not so fast.
Here's the spade. Let's dig it up.
No need for that. Put the spade down. Okay, then help us get this thing out of the ground. It's very simple. Stand back. The capsule will come out right over there. Do you see what I have in my hand?
Well, sure. It's a flashlight.
What an antiquated idea. This is a beamer. A what? I focus the beam like this, and...
The capsule's coming out of the ground.
We'll be attracted over here where there's space for us all to gather around. Hey, it's bigger than I thought. Must be nearly 4 feet long. The last one we buried was much bigger. We've come a long way in the past century. Well, for Pete's sake, open it. Why don't you do it? It's very easy. Just lift off the shell.
Here, Dave, I'll help you.
You see how light it is?
It's like something out of science fiction.
There is no fiction about these scientific instruments.
Unbelievable. Computers? Scanners?
What strange-looking bottles.
Why, that's a miniature space module. They've put too much in here. I told them there would be only 3.
By 3, do you mean Ruth and Dave and me? Are you talking about us?
Of course. Why do you think you've been summoned here?
We haven't the slightest idea.
You'd better find out. How stupid can you be?
But no one has explained...
I know. And the young lady is shivering.
Well, it's the 1st of January. It's cold.
We'll fix that. We'll start a fire.
Oh, come on. This frozen wood will never burn.
Who needs wood? This nuclear pellet will do.
Nuclear pellet? You want to blast us all out of this world?
Oh, what a lot you have to learn. 1 small pellet from this bottle, and this is just the spot. There.
Let's get away, Jack. There'll be an explosion.
Sure is. If this crazy man is really playing around with a neutron. Calm yourselves, my friends.
How do we know we can trust you?
You have no alternative. We're all here together for a purpose. But, Mr. Whoever you are, you'd better get to that purpose right now. We've had enough of these magic tricks. Warm yourselves by the fire while I get your material from the capsule. Then I'll give the proper instructions to each of you, one at a time.
Fire feels good.
No, this is crazy. All of it. That man's insane. He may well be dangerous.
He may be a madman, but by golly, I want to know everything he has to say. And one of the...
He's coming back. He's carrying something that looks like a big balloon.
Your name is Jack, is that right?
That's right.
And you're the man who's working on energy sources through wind power?
Well, I don't know how you know that, but it's true.
Hang on to this inflated bag. It's filled with wind power.
The bag's so light it can't be filled with anything but wind.
Oh, no, you're quite wrong. It contains instruments which weigh at least 100 pounds.
Well, how can that be?
Pay attention. First, tell me who lies under this stone.
That's the grave of my ancestor, Samuel Peterson.
Did you know he was one of the first to build a windmill in this part of the country?
Oh, that's very interesting.
It could have been, but it wasn't.
Why? Didn't it work?
He tried, but all he ever got was a trickle of water. We offered to help him, but he was too busy to listen.
Well, that was 2 centuries ago. If I could just show you what we're doing today...
You can show me nothing. Open that bag.
Well, these things couldn't have come from that lightweight bag.
When will you learn how easy it is to carry heavy objects when they're floated in hydrogen?
No, that can't be. The slightest friction and everything would go up in flames.
I'd forgotten you've not yet figured how to make hydrogen decombustible. But no matter. I'll give Jack 1 minute to look over the contents of the bag.
And there's everything here that I've been working on.
Much more.
There's a computer, because I have one of those.
Not like this one.
All these other things. How wonderful. A rotor, the new vertical blades, an electronic driving shaft. All in miniature. I've never seen such perfect scale models.
Those are not scale models.
Of course they are.
Your cumbersome equipment is out of date. That small piece of machinery in your hand can power turbines to light a city or to move a 747.
I don't believe it.
You will when you learn how. But it's time to open the next bag. I'll get it.
He's mad, you know. That stuff is a bunch of junk. But how can I tell without testing it?
Your name is Ruth.
Yes, I know nothing about machinery.
You are concerned that some people don't have enough to eat, right?
You have no idea how many people are dying of starvation.
Open the bag.
Filled with bottles and seed packets and chemical retorts.
Enough there to feed the world many times over.
You're joking.
Those seeds can be treated to germinate within minutes rather than weeks.
Oh, how wonderful if that would be true. And then what are these pills?
Each one contains more nutrients than a full-course meal.
Then why haven't we heard about them? I try to keep up with all the literature.
That's why I'm here, to help you.
With a bag full of seeds and pills? How do I know these things aren't poison?
Is there no trust left in the world? You're a woman with a brain. Use it. The formula is there. Find out for yourself.
He's gone for the third bag. This one has to be for you.
And your name is David. You consider yourself an expert on nuclear power?
On certain aspects of it, yeah.
Well, that's the whole point, those aspects. Open the bag.
Another bag of tricks. You know, I'm not interested in the scale model of a reactor. Our problem is getting rid of hazardous wastes.
On the right track.
You're darn right we are. We're reprocessing uranium and plutonium, leaving no more than 10% radiation.
That's too much.
I suppose you know how to get rid of it.
Read the instructions and you'll find the way to end all thermal pollution.
That'll be the day.
It will, if you want it to be.
Fire's going out. It's getting so dark. I think there's going to be a snowstorm.
Only a passing cloud, but I must be on my way. I'll inflate the bag so you can carry your precious materials home.
You mean we can keep these things?
Only if you make proper use of them.
Well, come with us, then. There are a lot of questions I want to ask.
Oh, no. No, you're on your own. If you three are doing more for humanity than the people buried under these stones, then prove it.
Well, what do you expect us to do?
You will use the information I have given you to help solve the problems of a troubled world.
That's a big order.
We don't expect it to happen overnight, so you will have 1 month in which to make progress.
Who's calling the shots?
That's out of your hands and mine. But I'll meet you here 1 month from today at noon on February 1st to find out how you're doing. Good luck.
With that last big gust of wind, the mysterious stranger vanished without a trace. Then the three bewildered people returned to the country house with what they called their bags of tricks. If you are skeptical, so were they. That strange presence had appealed to each of them individually on matters which concerned them deeply. If nothing else, they are consumed with curiosity. We hope you are too. Act 3 will begin presently. three friends have spent an extraordinary afternoon with a presence who did not identify himself. They have been challenged to show what progress can be made in important fields of human endeavor. Baffled by the circumstances, they are compelled to examine the materials which have been placed in their hands. Several hours have passed, and their absorption has been complete.
It all makes sense, Ruth. Every page of it.
The combination of ingredients used in these pellets is fantastic. Why haven't we thought about using this formula?
I've got to get to the lab to try this out.
Now, how are we going to explain what happened today?
There's no need to, Jack. Once we learn how to use these tools, the information is ours to demonstrate.
Then you do believe that for some reason we've been chosen.
All we can do now is believe in ourselves.
I think it's time to pack up and go back to civilization.
Well, I'm leaving right now. And if word gets to the suburbs that a city apartment house is blown up, you'll know something went wrong.
Jack, you must come to bed. You've been working on the car every night this week with almost no sleep.
It's nearly ready for testing. I am getting close, very close.
How do you feel?
Oh, I never felt better. Why?
I just feel guilty about not cooking dinner.
Well, there's time for dinner with so much to do.
But we can't use up the food pills until I learn how to make more.
Yeah, that does it. Now, I'll just turn on the ignition. It works. By heaven, Ruth, it works.
What's so unusual about starting the motor?
How'd you like to drive this car without ever buying another drop of gasoline?
Jack, come into my office.
Glad you called me, sir. I have something very important to show you.
Now, Jack, what's this I hear about you not attending the WPNA meeting?
We're too busy, sir.
And who do you think you're working for?
I never believed so completely in wind power as I do right now. Now, let me show you my car.
What the devil do I care about your car?
Please, when you see it, you'll know what I've been working on all week.
Well, you can drive me to the plant. 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Nice-sounding motor, isn't it?
Yeah, sounds okay to me.
Mm-hmm. Take a look at the gas gauge.
What? Why, you young fool, it's empty. What kind of game you playing?
Just proving a point.
Yeah, drive into that gas station.
This car does not use gas.
Oh, I suppose it's running on thin air.
Exactly. I'm using wind power.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah, I'll pull up over there and open the hood so you can see for yourself.
You hooked that tiny vertical bladed motor to the generator.
That's right.
At what speed?
Well, I've only tested it up to 70 miles an hour.
How far will it go without being regenerated?
I've only driven 250 miles, but it regenerates itself.
Jack, drive me back to the office at once. Jack, you must realize we have a tiger by the tail. Now, how many people know about this invention of yours?
Well, you're the first one I've come to.
Good. So until the details can be worked out, this must be kept an absolute secret.
Oh. No, that's not the point. If we go into production immediately, we can lick the energy crowd.
Now, first of all, Wind Power Associates must have an exclusive contract.
But this is for everybody.
We'll take out a patent in your name, of course. And, Jack, from now on, you're a vice president and stockholder in the company.
Well, I don't want a patent or a title. All I want is for you to back me up with a public demonstration. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? You're madder than I thought. For your own protection, Jack, I'm not throwing you to the wolves. Ruth Peterson, what's going on in here? Looks like a jungle.
These seeds. There's just never been anything like them. Now, look, it's almost ready to be harvested. That whole side is wheat. And over here, it's rye. And the tub, that's full of rice.
Well, how did all that stuff get in here? The storeroom was empty just a couple of days ago.
That's why I called you. I've been given a formula with which I treated these seeds. And you pour some water in that bowl, and I'll just show you what happens.
Well, it better be good.
Now, I'll sprinkle some of these seeds in the bowl. Now watch.
Well, I'll be Well, you're opening up like those magic flower things we had as kids.
They just start sprouting immediately. And when they're planted, well, there are the results. We can feed the world.
Ruth, come into the conference room and make a report.
Mr. Bascom, you say you've come up with something that limits radiation?
Well, yes, sir. I'd like to show it to
I'm
you.
a very busy man. Can't you sketch in the details?
No, sir. It's all set up in the testing room.
I thought you'd been given instructions that no more nuclear devices were...
Sir, this experiment is different. It's like nothing you've ever seen.
Is everything sealed?
Yes, sir. Sealed tight. Put on your face mask. The light will be bright. Here goes.
Now, you had your explosion, and according to the Geiger reading, there's a high radiation count.
I installed a container which will open with the heat and pour its contents over the contaminated area. Watch, sir. It's working.
Right, George. The counter has stopped.
Yes, sir. That means all contamination has been eliminated.
David, if what you've just done can be proved, we must contact the Pentagon immediately. Ruth, are you home?
Yes, not for long. You're going to drive me to the airport.
Oh, honey, I'm bushed. Nothing but disappointment all day, all week. What's this about an airport?
Well, you know how well my work's been going. They've tested the formula, and they've learned how to make the food pills.
Well, so why don't they ship them off to wherever they're needed most?
Because if they fell into the wrong hands, they'd never get to the needy. I have the honor of launching a program. They're sending me overseas.
Pentagon. I'll never learn my way around this place.
Just a minute, sir.
Yes,
Sign here.
Look, ma'am, I've been here 5 times in the last couple of days.
Sign here.
I've signed in duplicate and triplicate. I've even been fingerprinted. Look, please, could you tell me which way to room 1405?
Down the hall to the left, then turn right.
Mr. Bascom, we are deeply impressed by the documentation on your experiment.
Please, sir, would you untangle me from all this red tape so we can go to work on the disposal of hazardous waste?
All in due time. You have given us what can be a clean bomb.
Now, wait a minute. I want nothing to do with bombs.
But if we had a missile which was truly clean, imagine the possibilities.
My information must not be used for making weapons. I am concerned with saving lives, not destruction. Look, I want those documents back. I should have gone straight to the Nuclear Energy Commission.
We work directly with them, of course. I know they'll be interested.
Okay, then give me my papers and let me go.
These have now become government property.
Okay, I'll go to the president.
I'm sure that eventually he will want to see you.
I mean right now.
Naturally, you'll be living in Washington. We will provide security. A man with your information must be protected at all times. Oh, Dave, am I ever glad to see you.
That goes for me too, Jack.
How you doing?
Miserably. Before any damage is done, I must get to the president. How's it going with you?
Rotten. I've drawn charts. I filled in forms. The auto industry won't talk to me till their big convention in April. I tried going straight to the press. They think I'm a nut.
Yeah, I know what you've been going through.
Excuse me. Hello? Hello? Who? Louder, please. This connection is terrible. Hello? Hello? Ruth, where are you?
I'm in jail.
Well, you're where?
They put me in prison.
For what reason?
For being a spy.
You're kidding.
Darling, I'm only allowed one phone call. Please, please do what you can to get me out of this place. I'm in the...
Ruth? What's the matter with this line?
What is it?
Ruth's been thrown in jail. I have no idea where, and the phone's dead.
Well, you know where we're supposed to be 3 days from now.
Oh, we can't go without Ruth.
Oh, we may have to.
This house is colder than ever.
Mind if I
throw some wood on the fire?
Go ahead. I guess we'll be up all night. I can't imagine getting any sleep.
You do think he'll be there, though, don't you?
I'll have to be. I get more worried about Ruth by the minute.
Well, he's the one who's responsible. He'll have to bring her back.
Ruth, darling.
You all right, Ruth?
I'm okay. I wouldn't go through that again for anything.
How'd you get away?
They released me yesterday without any explanation. I was put on a plane and sent home, and I rented a car at the airport, and here I am.
Oh, thank the Lord.
Of course, I had to be here. Tomorrow, we have a rendezvous.
I'm sorry to get up so late. Good morning.
I'm not sure that it is. Maybe I'm not awake yet, but I feel very strange.
I hope you didn't have bad dreams like mine all night long.
Your dreams couldn't have been as wild as mine. I need another cup of coffee.
Well, fresh air ought to fix us up. Remember, we agreed to go to the old cemetery.
Careful. They're slippery.
Looks very different this time of year.
I'd forgotten the place was so deep in the woods. Greetings, all of you. You're right on time.
He's here.
Of course he is.
He said he would be, didn't he?
You don't know what trouble you got us into.
Oh, yes, I do. You threw me to the warlord.
I was thrown into jail.
I know. Don't bore me with details. You were given a remarkable opportunity, but not one of you got to first base.
Well, it was all so frustrating.
Life always is. And so are dreams.
Well, how would you handle a situation where everything has to be checked and double-checked?
I wouldn't stand for it.
Well, you'd have to, unless you were a dictator.
Your ancestors under this ground came here to be free. They acted for themselves, did things in their own way.
And how many died young? You just read the dates on these gravestones.
That's irrelevant.
Irrelevant that we've learned to prevent the diseases they died from?
If you think it's progress to extend the span of human life, why are you working to wipe out your entire universe in one instant? That's not our intention. It's too early to pass judgment on what we can do in the future. Too late, I'd say. In view of the way you've already bungled things. Yeah, but now with the tools you've given us, we'll get things on the right track. You never had any tools. It was quite clear from the beginning that our experiment would be too much for you to handle.
You brought us the capsule.
I brought you a time capsule only. Often a very useful tool for stretching the mind. Well, then help us to use it. Oh, no. No, that's up to you. Too early, too late. Anything's possible in the time machine. And right now, it's time to go back.
He's gone.
Yeah, I've had enough of this old graveyard. Let's get out of here.
Race you down the hill.
Not me. I feel very tired all of a sudden.
I have a headache.
I'll see you at the car.
Having car trouble?
I thought I'd warm up the motor, but the darn thing won't start.
Hey, you wrecked the battery.
Jack, look at the gas gauge.
Well, it's empty. I swear we filled it yesterday. Didn't we, Ruth?
It sounds crazy, but I don't remember.
It's quite a hike to the nearest gas station.
But the summer station is closed in February.
What did you say?
I said the station is closed.
I'm all mixed up. What day is today?
Well, I'm not working, so it must be a holiday.
I feel as though I've been away for a month.
An old graveyard can be a very unsettling place. What time is it?
Well, on my watch, it's 2 minutes to 1. We've been here nearly an hour.
An hour? But what's the date?
Well, my watch says it right here. It's January the 1st.
January the 1st? What happened to the whole month of January?
But that's not possible. You mean that all that happened to us didn't Was it a dream?
Well, if it was, I'm glad.
So am I.
Well, then, don't look so gloomy, you two. Happy New Year. All things are possible. It's really just the beginning.
Minutes, hours, days, a month. The major events of a lifetime can pass through the human mind within a matter of seconds. And what do we mean by progress? I'm inclined to believe the 1980s are a good deal better than many people say they are. Perhaps, to use Shakespeare's phrase, time is always out of joint. In their struggle for existence, those early American settlers were forced to move slowly. Today, the frightening part about heading into the future is not speed. It's the direction we are taking. I'll be back shortly. It's not unusual to come across a ghost in an old graveyard, but a ghost of the future? Our ghost, if that's what it was, offered some tantalizing possibilities. At least he indicated there are better things ahead. Author George Orwell painted a far gloomier picture, but we're so close to 1984 that some of Orwell's predictions can't possibly come true. Or can they? We are forced to revert to that well-worn cliche, only time will tell. Our cast included Russell Horton, Marion Seldes, Paul Hecht, and Arnold Moss. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Raven House Paperback Mysteries. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.